let's be honest, JHus has fallen off. I mean, this is one of our superstars, one of the biggest out of our country, and no one's crying out for him to release a new song, a new album. I mean, it's been 3 years and no one's saying, JHus, save the summer, save the summer. I'll never forget before Baby dropped, right? Everyone was yearning for him to drop. People were saying things like, oh, when he drops, he's gonna change the game. He's like Kendrick Lamar. When he takes his time on a project, you know it's about to shift culture. I mean, Common Sense is nothing like Big Conspiracy. He drops Big Spang out of nowhere, and it's already got a song like Darth Vader, which is charting, going crazy. This guy had the UK at the palm of his hand, and now no one cares. Or at least, no one's proud to say that they care, or no one's proud to say that, yeah, JHus is one of my goats. I'll never forget, Darth Vader dropped and it became a song of the summer. And now the summer's approaching, summer 2025, which I think is going to be a very big summer for the UK, where a lot of people will create a lot of big memories, and no one's crying out for JHus. So how can JHus redominate, regain his crown, and become one of the biggest rappers in the UK again? Well, we're going to dive into all of that and more in today's episode. You're just going to have to... Now, before we get into how JHus can regain his crown, let's first take a step back as to why he's so important in the UK. Now, I think JHus represents something really, really important. He represents one of the shifts in Africans becoming cool. Now, a lot of people might not want to say this, but being African in the early 2000s, 2010s wasn't as cool as it is today. We didn't have things like afrobeats, or afrobeats wasn't as front-facing in terms of black music as it is today. There was a lot of times where a lot of African kids would be changing their names to Jamaican names, or saying things like, oh, I'm from Italy, or I'm from France, or whatever. And maybe they were born there and stuff, but it didn't feel as though people were proud to claim their African heritage, right? And as Nigerians grew, it became cool to be Nigerian, and then Ghanaians and Congolese in communities in London. As those communities became more cool, quote unquote, it felt as though Africans were starting to take a step forward. But for me, what makes JHus so important is that he almost represented the colorism and maybe xenophobia, if you want to say that a lot of Africans faced. He was dark-skinned, he looked like he was quote-unquote fresh off the boat, and he even identified himself as being ugly, right? Because at that time, Chris Brown was like every girl's fantasy, and the light-skinned persona of the light-skinned guy being attractive and the dark-skinned guy being rough and strong and whatnot was rife in that era, right? Like, it was a point where dark-skinned guys would be called yuck and all these type of things, and light-skinned guys were preferred, right? So for me, JHus was almost the perfect embodiment of that. It didn't look like he was trying to be a pretty boy. He didn't look like he had he fit into the conventional beauty standard. He just looked like a guy who a lot of people might have disrespected if they knew him personally. But this guy had the confidence of God knows what. Like, even though socially he might not have been the attractive type, he still had that confidence to where no one's going to bad me up, no one's going to chat bad about me, I'm just going to be confident. And I think as well, the fact that he's Gambian really helped in terms of his status, because it's cool to be Nigerian because there's a bunch of Nigerian rappers. I mean, you've got Dave, Tion Wayne, there's a bunch of guys where Nigerians have taken it to a high level in this country because there's a large number of us. But Gambians, for example, the Gambian community, I don't know as many Gambians as, for example, I do Nigerian and Somalis and Ghanaians and Congolese people. So the fact that he was able to not only put Gambia on the map, you look at a song like Spirit where it's shot, you look at songs where it feels as though only a Gambian might appreciate it. I remember Flashy Silla when the album Baby came out and he was translating some of the things JHus was saying. JHus always felt like he was putting his culture first, he was showing African pride, and when he has songs with Burna Boy, it always feels like it's natural that if he wanted to in another life, he could have been the best Afrobeats artist as well. But with all this praise, with all this accolades, I mean, we're not even going to speak about Big Conspiracy and Common Sense today because those two albums are not only classics, but they've changed the way we view JHus and how an artist can drop one great album to the next. With all this praise, unfortunately, there did come a downfall. His first album, Common Sense, was probably the most hyped I've ever been for a UK album. I'll never forget when Fisherman leaked and then the official version dropped on Common Sense and it was still as good as the leak. A lot of times when leaked versions come out of a song, I rinse out the leaked version, and the official's never really the one that I love. But when Fisherman came out, the leaked and the official, I rinsed out the same amount. He had the streets on lock at that period. I don't forget his Brit performance with when he performed Did You See, which is one of my favorite commercial hits, I would say. And yeah, it felt like the guy, anything he touched at that time was just on fire. The guy could drop hooks for himself, hooks for other people. He had that song Samantha with Dave where it was just like, oh my gosh, this guy could jump into any type of vibe and just make it vibey. And to me, he's the GOAT of Afrobeats. Like, J Hus is undoubtedly the GOAT of Afrobeats. But he has fallen off, and we need to figure out why. Now, it's obviously because of the album Baby. Now, I wouldn't even say it's because of the album itself, Baby, because I re-listened to it in preparation for this video, and I realized, no, this is still a good album. The problem is that It's Crazy made people dig too deep into J Hus's music. Now, a lot of people analyze J Hus's music, and that's fine. It's fine to analyze music. But it felt as though once It's Crazy came out, people were really analyzing it. But why were they analyzing it and looking into things that they may not have usually looked into in a J Hus project? Well, first of all, I've drawn the devil here because you start a song with devil in me, demon in me, already people are like, whoa. Because again, this is one of the greatest anthem makers our country's ever seen. Them Boy Pagan and Friendly. Go to a clubbing event today, right? And let's say they're playing UK music. If you don't hear one of those two songs, I'll give you £100. Stamp that, right? Them Boy Pagan and Friendly are all-time classics and will be played till the end of time, man. So we know J Hus has that ability to where he drops a song. I mean, who told you, right? I've said that Baby isn't maybe his best project. Well, who told you was rinsed out that summer at Wireless? I mean, the guy, anytime he released a song, it was going to be commercial. Or it had that weight to where people in the culture were going to back it to a point it would get a commercial. So he drops It's Crazy, it's the lead single. Whenever J Hus drops a lead single, that's the song we push. And everyone heard it, was like, whoa, I'm not singing that in a club. I'm not singing that at a dance. I'm not singing that at a function. And I remember listening to it in a car and thinking, this ain't it. Like maybe it's a good song, but I'm not gonna sit here and find out. I think as well, it was a very controversial moment as well, because a lot of music critics were saying, oh no, it's a good song, it's a good song, it's a good song, but no one wanted to give it the time of day because I'm not singing that. I'm not saying those words out of my mouth mindlessly, because you'll be drunk and you just be singing certain songs. And to sing that mindlessly, that was a step too far for people. And that led to a lot of people doing research into other J Hus albums and projects. They were going back and finding out what Bunsam meant and finding out what this and that meant. And we're realizing, wait, maybe J Hus isn't the guy we should be blindly following, right? So he's done all of this, and now it's been 2 years since he's dropped that project. A lot's changed in UK music. I would say Afrobeats has hit even higher heights. I would say UK rap with Central C. Central C's taking it to even further extents than before when J Hus was at the top of his game. So now J Hus is in a weird place, right? Afro-swing is no longer a thing you can fall back on. Afrobeats is in a completely different place. So how can he regain his fans? So now I have 3 suggestions for what J Hus can do to regain his fans. The first suggestion would be to release a saxophone heavy sampled song. Now the reason I say this is because Eden, Hyatt, and all these different type of lounges have become extremely popular with not even old, J Hus's core audience. And he needs to regain them back in order to hit that commercial level that he was at before. I think he'll still go #1 if he drops a project. I think his fan base is that big. But in order to get that love back, because I think that's what J Hus's superpower was. I don't think he's necessarily as lyrical as Dave, and I think he has maybe more hits, for example. But what his superpower was is that he was loved. He represented something. He stood for something. I mean, the him being ugly thing that I mentioned before was almost this thing that he had taken on. He'd taken on that mantle for any guy who'd been called ugly because they were maybe dark-skinned or maybe because of the way they dressed or whatever. And he had embraced that to the point that his confidence grew so much that now he's calling himself sexy and he believes it. And it's almost this journey that we could follow and be like, yeah, you're the guy now. You've earned, you deserve it because of all the work you've put in. And I really appreciate that from him. Like, I really appreciate the fact that he was a face for so many people. But how can he regain it? So he needs to get back to those people that he was the face for, the champion for. And he could do that by making a song that, listen, when you go to Eden, right, and you see the saxophone guy come out, if J Hus has a song where that can be played alongside and the live music and everyone's having fun. That's just an easy way to regain those fans. My second suggestion would be to rap like Jay-Z or have a real rap / hardcore album. Now people will be wondering, but JHus is a hit maker, he doesn't do that type of stuff. I would disagree. And the reason I say this is because J5 has said in an interview that JHus really likes Jay-Z and all that street rap in America. So why can't you just switch it up? I mean, the guy's done this on every album. Big Conspiracy sounds nothing like Common Sense, sounds nothing like Baby, sounds nothing like The 15th Day. So why can't he be a completely different person for his next album? Change the landscape and bring back maybe a level of gritty rap to the mainstream. Who knows? He has that level of influence. And my final suggestion would be to bring back quote-unquote Afroswing, or either reinvent it and create this new Afroswing that has a lot of elements of Afrobeats in it. Now, the reason I say this, he can do this, because the link between UK and Afrobeats artists was there now. We're international, they come here, they sell out arenas. I mean, look at Wizkid's tour, look at what Burna Boy does. The UK is a hotspot for Afrobeats artists. So why can't he have a lot of Afrobeats artists, but also bring back some of the old school Afro swing artists? Anyone who's at recess land could see that people still love Afro swing era. They love that nostalgia. So that might be a bit of a cheap one, but he could use that to his advantage and bring back Afro swing. But yeah, that was just some of my suggestions for JHus. JHus is someone who forever be a legend in my eyes, and you can't tell the story of UK rap without him, but he has stumbled. And I do believe he can make it back to the point he was at before. But that's been my suggestions. Let me know what JHus can do. And do you still listen to JHus in 2025? Let me know in the comments below. But it's been your boy J to the Izzo, and I'm out.